What up, world?
What's going on?
It's your girl, MCT Latrice.
And I am TekaBella.
And this is Talking with T. We're back with another episode, and today's topic is how to recognize
when you hear God's voice.
Yes. Right? How do you know when you hear God's voice? How do you recognize that?
That's a good question, right? You definitely have to have that relationship with God first, right? So when you're connected to Him, that is opening you up to be able to receive whatever word He has for you, in my opinion. So I think first and foremost is having that relationship.
Yeah, because how would you know what you're hearing if you don't even have a relationship with Him? You could be like, you could feel like you're going crazy, like my mind's playing tricks on me.
I know. It gets like that though too. I noticed, like, even for myself, you're not as close with God as you should be. I mean, let's just be real and honest with it, And if you're not praying, if you're not staying connected, you get confused. You're like, is it me? Is it my ego? Is this my voice that I'm hearing, or is it from God? So you have to be really mindful of that relationship.
And for me, I've always had a close relationship with God ever since I was a kid, and I can remember times praying when I was in bad situations, and I would pray to God and I would end up in another situation. And at the time I didn't realize it was for my good, but I might end up in a worse situation.
Right.
At the time I thought it was worse, but it was actually ultimately working for my good. One of the ways that I can recognize God's voice when He speaks, I get a funny feeling in my gut. It's like a faint, don't do that. It's almost like you already know not to do that.
Okay. So but you get a friendly reminder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Yes.
And so it's like one of those things where you might think you're tripping. You might think you, like, what? Don't do that.
Right.
But then you do it,
and
something bad
consequences.
happens.
Yeah.
Consequences.
Right. Yeah.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
Consequences. Because He'll speak loud and clear. And so for me, the way that I recognize is because I know that voice. I get chills. That your intuition is your God-given sense. It's what He gave us to recognize His voice, that intuition. That's something that tells you not to do that, or that's something that tells you to do that. You have choices. You like, should I do this or should I do that? Your intuition tells you not to do that, and then your intuition tells you, so it might not tell you to do this, but it tells you definitely don't do that.
Right.
That's your God. That's God speaking to you.
I believe that. Yeah. Is it going to hurt or harm you, or is it going to bring joy to your life, or is it going to harm somebody else? You know what I'm saying? That kind of helps you to differentiate the two as well. Because, if it's not connected with the Word of God in a sense or in a way, then it ain't from Him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, that's just to be said without saying. So, yeah, I definitely believe that.
Or even confirmation.
Right. Oh, yeah.
God may speak to you through someone else.
Right.
So you've already had that little small thing in the back of your mind, which 9 times out of 10 is God speaking to you, because God's not going to tell you to do anything wrong.
Right.
So when God speaks, God is always going to lead you in the right direction. So you got God speaking to you saying, I think you should choose that school. Right. You question it. Maybe not. I'm going to look at another school. Someone else comes along and says, hey, have you heard about this school, such and such? And it's the same school. You thought you heard God's voice tell you to choose that school. Then someone else comes along and mentions that school.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, it kind of happened just that way for me coming to this school. It's crazy because I have been in prayer, coming here to Ohio, not really sure what I was going to do, kind of not really, but I knew I wanted to do something with film and video and that kind of thing. And then I was driving down the road and I hear on the radio Ohio Media School. And I'm like, that's crazy. And, and then to call, and then the way it just worked out, it was like, I knew that was from God. It's crazy.
See?
Anyway, yeah.
So that was confirmation.
Exactly.
So, and you heard it in the confirmational way. And another way is to pray.
Yeah, for sure.
You pray about something and ask God to make his voice loud and clear for you, so that you know for sure it's God's voice. Now, that's not to say you're going to literally hear God come down and say, I said don't do that. God will use other people to get a message to you.
And then you'll get a revelation all in that, loud and clear from the person, because he uses other people, like you're saying.
Because he already told you.
Yeah.
Now he's going to send someone else to come along and tell you. Or you may meet prophets.
Yeah, this is
people who may come to you out of the blue, don't even know you,
and
say, you know what? I see something in you. God told me to tell you.
Girl, you're speaking a word. You are. Really.
And you might look at the person like, you tripping, you crazy.
Right.
But deep down inside, you know they know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
That's God.
That's God. Another example, when you're saying it, it's kind of, resonating some things with me. But you know how it is when you're going through something, or you have a goal to accomplish something and it's so slow, and you're like, oh my God, I'm getting nowhere with this. Like, why am I even trying? Because I get like that sometimes, and you want to give up. And then, but God will send somebody. And they'll be like, oh, what you did encouraged me. Oh, what you did inspired me. Oh, girl, keep doing that. You're like, I was just about to give up.
Yes.
But that is a confirmation to say, nope, God wants you to continue. And he's going to send little people or people to help you along the way. So, yes, absolutely.
Teka, it happened to me. I'm not sure if it'll happen again, but I was doing the same thing, doing my lives, just helping people, putting little motivational messages up, just helping people. Now, this is before we knew each other. We were doing the same thing.
Right.
And I would just kind of think like, for what? Right. I mean, yeah, I'm doing it because I want to help people, but it's like, it doesn't seem like anybody's really listening.
Exactly.
Right? And I'll run into someone. Oh my God, that live that you did. Guys, man, I love it, Tawana, because you don't just speak to women, you speak to everybody. And I felt that, and you really helped me, you just don't know. I'm like, really?
Okay, and it gives you that fuel just to be like, okay, I'm on the right path, I'm doing, because I feel like if you help one person, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, right?
That is confirmation. That's God's voice. Using someone else to tell you, I see what you're doing, and I love it, and you've helped me. That's God's voice. So, understanding that God's voice is not this loud, I said type of thing. It's subtle, but it's powerful.
And powerful, yeah. It's true. And you have to be ready to hear his voice sometimes too, because if you're caught up, with the world being crazy and all, sometimes it may be a little, because it's soft and powerful, and sometimes it may be hard to hear. But you got to be ready to be quiet and be in a place to listen, to be ready to receive it. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be in prayer and meditation, kind of in a sense. They kind of go hand in hand, because your prayer is you're asking, you're requesting, you're making your needs known. But when you get quiet and you meditate and you just, that's when you can hear real clear what he's saying.
Yes. So I'll give you guys an example of God speaking to me loud and clear, and I could not deny it, right? This was when I was delivered from alcohol and weed. So earlier that day, my aunt, shout out to my great aunt, I love you so much. Very, very spiritual people. And she called me on the phone because I was live, and I had put a request out on live that day for people to keep me in prayer. I'm struggling with weed and alcohol. I want to stop. And I just need prayer because this is not an easy thing to do. My aunt jumped on my live. She saw it. She said, call me. So I was like, uh-oh, you know what, guys? I'm going to go ahead and end this live. I got a phone call to make. So when I called my aunt, she, felt a way about me expressing exactly what I wanted prayer for. She's like, some things can be private, but I'm a firm believer in I'm just gonna say how I
And
feel
you
because I'm not
expose the
ashamed.
devil
of
so he can
anything. Right.
flee. You know, yeah.
She's old school.
Okay.
You know, she's like, some things are just private, baby.
Okay.
You ain't gotta. So anyway, we talked over the phone. She said, well, you know what? I'm gonna pray for you.
Okay.
We're gonna pray right now. She said, now, do you accept the Lord as your Lord and Savior? Yes. She made me do the Lord's Prayer. Now, she didn't know this at the time, but I was not ready to do the Lord's Prayer because I knew I still had some weed left that I was still trying to
You
smoke.
trying to finish it off, right?
I wanted to finish my weed. Now, I said I wanted help, but I wasn't ready.
You want it right away. Like,
okay. So,
I get it.
I'm in my office and I'm like, no. She's like, you ready? I want to say no.
Right.
But I said the Lord's Prayer. Asked for forgiveness and all that. So I struggled for a couple hours because I still had my weed. Now I'm like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to smoke more than I normally do and just throw it instead of holding it because it'll last 3 days. This little joint I roll will last me 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a whole... Now, before I went to my room, which is downstairs in the basement, to get it, there was a paper laying on my dining room table. And it said, God's grace on the front. That was my first warning.
Mm-hmm.
That was his first way of trying to speak to me, right? And I was like, no. I tried to ignore it. I looked over on the chair. There was a magazine. And I want to say it said, don't go or don't do it or something like that. I'm like, come on, God. Right? I ignored that one. So now I'm going to be real transparent with you guys. So I went down anyway and I rolled my weed up and I went outside and I rolled it real big so I could get rid of it. So I hit it a couple times and then I threw it. Well, I came back in the house and I sat in the chair. My little girl was in the living room as usual and she got up. Now her cartoons are on Mickey Mouse. And she normally, you know, I come in the room, she's going to chill with me. For some reason this night, she just got up and went in the bedroom with my older daughter. I ain't think nothing of it. I'm sitting there high, feeling good. Looked up at the TV, and Daffy Duck was laying in the bed. He was old, and he was asleep, but they said he wouldn't wake up. They couldn't say he was dead. This is a children's cartoon. He's laying in the bed old. They're around him crying. He won't wake up. No. Guess he did something wrong. My interpretation. I'm seeing me in that bed. I heard God's voice tell me and show me. He said, you've been disobedient. Again. One too many times. Now, you said the Lord's Prayer earlier. He said, because you have not been following my word, I'm going to go ahead and call you home. He said, because when you do what you're doing, which was smoking weed, you're not walking in your purpose.
Right.
You know what your purpose is, and when you do this, you're not walking in your purpose. And so because you choose to disobey me, it's time for you to come home. Listen. Scared the crap out of me.
I'm sure, right?
Because now I'm looking at me laying in this bed dead. Now, only thing is running through my mind, how am I going to tell my kids? Who am I going to call? How am I going to call my family and tell them I'm about to go home? He said, I'm going to call you home. You're coming home because you're not walking in your purpose.
Right.
Because whenever you're doing this, you're not walking in your purpose, so I'm calling you home, right? I'm standing there, I'm sitting there, I'm about to cry. And I'm like, all I could think about was my babies. Right? And these phone calls I'm going to have to make. I'm going to have to go in the room. How? They're not going to understand that. I can't tell them I'm about to die. I'm about to go home because I messed up, right? I prayed, God, please give me another chance. I promise. Please give me another chance. And somewhere in there I felt he would, but I wasn't sure. I was scared. So the cartoon said, he won't wake up. First they were saying he won't wake up. Then they were like, oh, wait. It's one thing he can do, and he'll wake up. I looked at that TV. I said, say less.
What is it?
I ran downstairs. I grabbed everything I had, all my weed, my paraphernalia. Normally, when I quit smoking weed, I keep my tray, my little roller, my papers, just in case. You know, my lighter. I keep something, but I get rid of the weed. I went downstairs. I grabbed everything, lighters, everything that comes with that whole package.
Right.
I put it in the bag. I took it outside and threw it in the trash. I came and sat back in the chair. Now, they got commercials that come on. When I sat back down, there were no commercials. When I sat back down, they said, "Yay! He did what was right. Now he can wake up. Now he can wake up." So I'm sitting there like, yes.
Oh my God.
I was like, thank you. I said, God, please. And they got sad again, like, no, he won't wake up. I was like, God, please just give me another chance, right? I'm pleading with God because I'm terrified.
Right, at this point.
Next thing I know, Donald Duck was like, and he sat up out the bed.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm getting chills thinking about it. And I knew then that I had another chance to do it right. And I promised God, and I'm telling you guys on camera right now because a person would think I'm crazy, but God spoke to me loud and clear. And from that day forward, I've been delivered. There's no kind of want to think about it. I'm not ready to go home.
Right.
I got work to do.
Absolutely.
I know my purpose. Yes. I know who I am, but I heard his voice and he showed me through a kid's cartoon.
That is wow. Okay.
That's how I was delivered.
So he gonna get the message to you any kind of way it takes. Okay. To let you know, I got something different for you now.
I heard him loud. Wow. He told me, because you've been disobedient and you know your purpose, when you're doing this, you're not walking in your purpose.
Right.
So I'm gonna call you home. It's time for you to come home.
Wow.
I begged and pleaded. And he gave me another chance.
Wow.
So I'm sitting here today doing what I'm doing because I heard God's voice.
Right. That's a beautiful story, a powerful story.
Yeah.
Yes, to tell. Wow. Yeah. So I'm trying to think about something that has happened recently for me, hearing it loud and clear, his voice, was I have this thing for like drinks and beautiful glasses and beautiful drinks. I don't care if it's regular or cocktails or whatever, but I have a cocktail every now and then. But I had this thing of putting it on social media, on my Instagram or whatever. And then, so I one night was laying in a bed and God was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "You're posting these drinks on social media and sometimes I'll be having cleavage. I'm trying to be grown, and God is like, he's like, that's not who you are. I didn't call you to do that. How are you going to reach the people with that kind of a perspective that you put out there?" Yes.
So, you too.
Yes, you got it too.
Talk about it.
Okay.
No, he told you to stop.
He told me to flat out stop. So if you notice, it's been a while since I've been posting these pictures. Because I'm like, you're right. If you're going to reach people can't be looking at your pictures talking about, oh my God, how's she going to do this and that and the third when she doing this and that and the third or whatever. So, yeah, that's how he spoke loud and clear to me to say, stop doing that.
So, understand, you're not tripping. You're not crazy.
Right.
When you hear God's voice, he speaks.
Right.
It's not like it's not
it's loud and clear.
It's
like you
loud
said.
and clear.
Yeah.
It's your conscience is your God-given sense.
I believe it.
Your conscience and your intuition.
You're going to feel convicted, especially if you got that relationship with him. If you're doing something that is out of character, that's not aligned with what he says, you're going to be convicted. You're going to feel it in your spirit, in your soul, that, okay, I need to get it together. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's when you know,
Yeah.
but just look out for certain signs like that tingly feeling,
the gut feeling, like you said,
chills.
Confirmations.
It's coming from God and nobody else, and especially when it's the right thing.
Right.
I think we all get that. Some of us just don't recognize it when it comes, and some of us just don't want to.
That's
we
true.
Don't want to believe,
because like you said, you don't want, like at the time you didn't want to quit, and even like with the drinks, I love my cocktails. I didn't want to start giving them up or whatever, but yeah.
But look how fast he worked. I asked for it online earlier that day.
Isn't that crazy?
My aunt calls and then he answers
right away.
Like,
yeah,
you just had all these people praying for you, people who love you, people who love me,
right?
Then you sent the call up personally. And then you're going to sit and get high.
He's like, what else I got to tell you?
You know what, babe?
I'm going to scare the fool out of you. Okay.
No, you coming home.
Hell yeah.
And had I not asked for forgiveness in that moment and pleaded with God to give me another chance, I probably wouldn't have been sitting here. You know, I think it depends on how bad you want it. And he knows our hearts.
Right.
He knew I was sincere when I said, please. I was like, out of all things in the world, the cartoon, the duck is dead.
Out of all the things.
And I didn't see one commercial.
Oh, but you come back on when it's celebration time. Girl, that is a story to tell.
He did it.
Okay.
And I'm going to find that cartoon. So that you can, because the cartoon where Donald Duck goes to sleep.
Yeah.
He's old and he's sleeping in the bed and won't wake up.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I've been blessed. You guys are blessed. We're all blessed because we're here.
Right.
And if you're watching this or listening to this, you're definitely blessed. So keep an open ear.
Right. And keep going. Like, keep believing and stay connected to God so that you can hear clearly what he's trying to say to you, because he has work for you to do. Okay.
You have work
You
too.
have work to do.
We're all here for a reason. So
Right.
we're working whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know, that us as people make the world go round. Just because you're not doing this, and don't stop comparing yourself to people.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one too, because it'll take you down. Trust me.
Yeah.
And you got to know that when you're comparing yourself to people, you're selling yourself short, because you're unique. You know, we say this all the time. There's no one like you, so you're doing yourself a disservice by not, celebrating who you are.
Yeah.
And worrying about other people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So follow your God-given sense, and you won't have to worry about other people.
That's it.
You'll do what you were called to do because you're listening, you're open to hearing God's voice. You could even pray about that and just say, Father, allow me to hear your voice when you speak loud and clear so that I can recognize that it's you.
That's for sure. Yeah.
And
he'll definitely do it.
Quickly, swiftly.
Okay.
Not even 24 hours.
Okay.
It wasn't even 12 hours. I was like, already done.
Okay, you wanted to finish strong, honey. I know that's right. Oh my goodness.
So I'm glad. I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah,
and
me
sitting
too.
beside such a wonderful person.
Oh, I feel the same about you. I just feel like God needed you in my life so long ago, but God knows perfect time, and so I'm glad you're here now.
So
sure.
am I.
Yes,
So am
ma'am.
I. But I'm on my way out the door. I got one more week to go, and I'm graduating.
She's leaving me, and I'm sad. But I'm gonna be right behind her. Okay.
Hey, I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you too. We going places. We got stuff we gotta do.
Oh,
Okay.
we did it. Another one down. And
Another one down. We gotta do
another word. Affirmation. It's now time for affirmations. Y'all ready for the affirmation?
Oh.
So at this time, we are going to do our positive affirmations. So if you ready?
What is it today?
God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity.
Hey.
God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. Hey, positivity. My light shines with positivity. Hey, positivity. My light shines with positivity. Cause God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. Peace and love. It's your girl, MCT Latrice.
And I am TekaBella.
Thank you for joining us.
And remember,
Always fill your cup until it overflows.
Yes. Get to work. You got stuff to do.
Hey, God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. God's grace is all on me. My light shines with positivity. Peace and love.